Hey, this is Max. I am back with another CSR2 video. Tonight it's the LB SRT Hellcat, this season's Prestige Cup car. I'm going to go ahead and break down the various effects of Stage 6 for this car. However, even though I'm doing it for the LB Hellcat, I want to tell you that the regular Hellcat is pretty much confirmed to work as well for this season's Prestige Cup. They have worked together on every cup that required the SRT Hellcat up to this point, and this season is likely no different. So if you have a regular SRT Hellcat and it is pretty built, I would say that you do not need the LB to do the job. And that being said, if you have some gold saved up and you've had no luck pulling this car, you can buy the regular No Star LB, I mean not LB, but regular Hellcat for the purpose of this Prestige Cup. If push comes to shove, you just can't get any luck to get the regular Hellcat one way or the other. So either way, you can get a Hellcat, and you should be able to do this season's Prestige Cup. All right, so let's take a look at the Stage 6 effects. At Stage 5, tuned as best as I can get about a 9.509 out of this car. Now, mind you, this car is full fusion. The fusions come from Dodge Vipers that you could strip, and also just generally from Dodge. The car doesn't take a whole ton of fusions. It only requires probably a few for the first 5 stages as far as green and blues for the most part. The epics don't usually come into play until the last 2 stages. So it's not one of those cars that's going to require a ton of fusions to get anywhere. However, you do want to fusion it out because without fusions, these cars could be almost a second slower. So 9.5 is about where you are when you start with stage 5. Depending on how hard Natural Motion wants to make the Prestige Cup, which this being a very old car, this being a car you could buy from the dealership, and this being a tier 3 car, I don't expect them to be too merciful when it comes to the final time. So let's see what the big stage 6s are. Traditionally, for every tier 3 car, pretty much the nitrous has always been a pretty important stage 6. And I suspect it'll be no different here as well. Let's put nitrous in. Let's go back and test and tune it for the time that we can get on the dyno. Then I'll take a run with it and see where it's at. Now, this car likes a little bit of duration, but not too much. So really, you're still going to get your best evo out of putting nitrous at the shortest duration. But that extra power will help. The car is very grippy, so it doesn't really require a whole lot. We just dropped from 9.5 to a 9.27. Playing with the tires isn't going to help you, and playing with the trans isn't likely to help either. So nitrous is about a 2/10 plus about 2.5 drop, 2/10 and a half drop from the 9.50 something that we started with. So that's not a bad stage 6. Certainly it did pretty well for getting the time down. Now you should be able to get close or if not beat dyno with most tier 3 cars. I'm sure this car is no different. I don't drive this thing very much because it's very low Evo even at fully built status, and therefore it's not one of those cars that I consider extremely useful. So 9.244 quarter mile speed of almost 160, which means it can do 160 pretty easily. If you're thinking of using it for Tempest, this car should be able to do the job. When fully maxed, it's a bit faster, and I forgot what Tempest 3's time is, but it should be able to do it. So that's another thing to consider for this. So nitrous is not bad, but not great. About a 2/10 drop. 2.5. Let's take a look at body. Now on tier 5s, body does a lot. Now this doesn't translate over to every tier though. Tier 4 and 3, depending on the car body, may not do as much. But the Evo points look pretty promising, but the effects are not. So you drop from a 9.5 to a 9.4, basically. That's only a 1/10 drop. So in this case, body is not very useful at all for tier 3. I'm not even going to test drive it. I'm just going to move on to the next one. So nitrous, 2.5. Body right now, it's only a 0.1 drop. So body definitely is one of the weaker ones. Let's hope the other ones will make up for it and do better. Tire and trans traditionally would be a decent one. I think tire should be decent here. Let's see if the Evo points go up. No, it went down. That's not a good sign. We haven't tuned it, but there's really not a whole lot of tuning going on with this car. Once you get to full fusion at stage 5, the tunes are basically what it's going to be at that point. So playing with the tire, again, tweaking it a little bit, doesn't seem to do anything. Keeping my fingers crossed. Oh, that's miserable. That barely did anything. So you're starting at 9.50 something. Now you drop to a 9.498. So I guess tire's not that good on this tier 3. Wow, that is a distinctively different effect than, say, the Vulcan, which we did the last video on, where tire did quite a bit, and it's in fact one of the go-to stage 6s. In this case, it looks like tire is pretty much useless. So I guess if you don't have a tire, don't stress. That's few hundreds difference from stock. All right. So on to the next one. This should have some effect, I hope. But the Evo points look pretty bad, and that's not a good sign. Anytime the Evo doesn't really change, you have to be a little concerned. That barely did anything either. What is wrong with this car? Stage 6 doesn't seem to do much for it. And that's with the Epic Fusions. Boy, all the ones that you'd think normally would be really helpful so far has pretty much been a dud. So body sucks, trans does little, and tire does nothing, almost nothing either. What's going on here? So that means we have 3 left that in most other tiers are possibly the worst 3 you can get. Well, let's hope engine doesn't fall on its face too. Watch them Evo points. Bam. Okay, so engine definitely does something, almost probably as much as nitrous, I would think. So it's engine and nitrous so far. How about that? Didn't expect that. Let's take a look. 9.4. No. Yeah, basically comes in the same as body. Boy, this car just doesn't benefit that much from its individual stage 6s. 9.415 is not quite a tenth faster than what it was before. So everything on stage 6s doesn't seem to affect this car a whole lot. What does that mean? That means even with all stage 6s, the car's not that quick. So that's not a good thing. You would expect with stage 6s there'll be a nice jump in performance. So far, that has not proven to be true. This gives me the feeling that turbo probably is going to do the same thing as engine just did, maybe even a little bit less. Yeah, it's not even as effective as engine. That's pretty slow too. So these are all pretty much coming in a few hundredths, 1/10 at the most. That's pretty bad. So let's say if Natural Motion decide to make this a um, somewhat difficult cup, you're going to be looking at getting nitrous or not getting through, right? Didn't this happen a little bit during the Made in America? I know it happened with the normal Hellcat. You don't get nitrous, you don't get through that last race. I hope the PC Cup will at least be a bit easier so we don't face that issue, but it's not looking promising here with these stages. Oh God, that one's bad too. Wow, 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 wow. These are really, really terrible. I forgot how bad this car's upgrades are. I mean, you would expect when you max it out, there'll be a substantial jump from when you're at stage 5. It just isn't. Okay, so I'm going to install a few in combination to kind of see what the combination effects are. But let's take a look here. We know so far that everything's bad, okay, except for nitrous. Nitrous seems to be the only one that does the job well. So you start at 9.512, and if let's just put the car to full stage 6. Let's see what the other end of the performance spectrum is. And let's see where I would think the Prestige Cup may fall in the middle. Let's put all the stage 6s on this car. The only thing that'll probably get tweaked afterwards is the nitrous, because nothing else really requires tuning adjustment. Now we have full stage 6 now, okay, every one of them installed. And then we tune it. I didn't look up the world record tune for this. Probably might be a little better than whatever I'm tuning, but 8.85 seems to be the absolute best you're going to get. Okay, so 8.85. Now, does it run a little bit under dyno? Most T3s do, but I'm not sure about this one. But 8.85 is not bad at all. It'll still get you through Tempest 2, definitely. I'm trying to think if it'll get me through Tempest 3. I don't have the numbers handy in front of me, so I'm not going to assume anything here. But I think it'll be close. I believe the boss runs a 9 flat in Tempest 3. So that would be sufficient for you to get through. From a trap speed standpoint, I'm pretty sure this car will hit 160 easily. So 164 there, 8.777. So might be able to do better than that. That's probably not the best time. You could probably get 8.6 something if you're really good at driving. All right, so let's take a look. So 8.7, 164. Let's just say Natural Motion decides to put this at a 8.9 or 9.0. I just can't imagine them making it easier than that by much. Maybe a 9.2 if they really like us. And because this car being so old and so, how would I put it, common at this point, I don't think they're going to do that. All right, let's take out the worst stage 6s. Let's take out tire. Let's take out turbo. Let's take out intake. Okay, so we took 3 out. Your 3 stage 6 is short. That should slow the car down quite a bit, but does it? Not really. See, this is again my point. Nitrous being important here to make it through the end. This happened with the Made in America on the regular Hellcat. I keep wanting to say regular LB, but it's a regular Hellcat. On that car, people got to the last race. They didn't have nitrous and they just couldn't get through it. You couldn't beat the last race without nitrous. It was that important. Is it going to end up that way with this as well? I have a feeling it's probably going to be similar. These two cars are basically the same, with the LB Hellcat actually being slightly slower. So if you don't have nitrous and Natural Motion doesn't give us a really easy cup, you too may be stuck right on the margin here, because you can't really get much under a 9.1. Now, I think a 9.0 something final time is very likely, even possibly an 8.9. If that's the case, it's going to be a hell of a time for a lot of people if they don't have that nitrous. And that's what I don't like about stage 6s and their effects on some of these cars. You're basically at the mercy of luck. You're at the mercy of these stage 6s that are really just terrible. And then you get this one super stage 6, but if luck isn't with you and you don't get it, you're stuck with nothing. You're stuck with basically a car that won't do anything for you at all. Now, I think I forgot to tweak the nitrous, so we got to go back to revisit that in a second. But let's first see what this car runs in the quarter mile without nitrous, the way it's set up now. Can I get under 9.0 is the question. It's close, 9.087, but I didn't tweak the nitrous. Let me put it where it's supposed to be. And that should get us right on the margin there. 9.092. Can we get 9.0? I believe in Made in America, the final run was 8.9 something. And Made in America is tough, but it wasn't supposed to be super tough. And therefore, 8.9 for a PC Cup, is it possible? Quite likely possible. If, again, Nitro Motion was being nice, we get a nice 9.1 something. Even then, you know that you're going to need all the other stage 6 just to hit that. because basically speaking, the other stage sixes don't do anything except for the one body that does like zero point 0.1. So 9.052 is the best I can hit right now without further testing, without nitrous. So that is not a good sign. If you're missing nitrous and let's say they put it at 8.9 again or 9.0 again, guess what? You're going to be stuck and you're going to be frustrated. And that's no different for this other car over here. This one here had the same issue in that without nitrous, it just couldn't get under certain time. Um, let's take a look at where it's at right now, 9.519. Okay, this is also full stage 5. I'm missing body on this, so I can't give you the full breakdown with the body in there, but let's just say body isn't going to be much different than for the LB. So I'm going to install everything but body and nitrous because I don't have body, but you'll get the gist of it. Let's just count an extra tenth for the body, just like we saw with the LB Hellcat. Same issue should apply because these are basically the same car, except for some reason the regular one's a little faster. Okay, let's take a look. 9.19. Now take a tenth off, 9.097. Hey, guess what? Seems just like the other car. And the other car could not get under 9 without nitrous. And guess what? This car could not get under 9 without nitrous either. Both cars are really heavily reliant on nitrous because it's the only half decent stage 6 for the entire set for the car. With it, still missing certain other parts like this one, which we know is pretty useless. Think about that. 4 fusions and a stage 6 barely affects anything. That is not good. That's like a waste of our parts and time trying to get them, and it doesn't do anything. That is really disappointing. Let's take a look at this. Now it should still be close to, if not under, 9.0. Wow, right on the mark, 9.0. Now I didn't tune it yet. Let's tune it. 8.963. So there you go. With nitrous, no tire, it's substantially faster. And that's, again, identical to the issue you'll see with the LB Hellcat. So what do you need to expect? Well, you're going to have to expect this to be a very obnoxious Prestige Cup if Natural Motion took the same stance they took with the Made in America event and made it an 8.9 something for the final run. If they did not do that, and let's say they were nice to us and did a 9.1, even then you're probably going to need all 6 of the other parts, stage 6 parts, just to be able to make that, and that is with full fusion. Let's hope Natural Motion was being real nice and gave us a final time of 9.2. I'm not holding my breath for that. This is an older car, like I said, and it's been Prestige Cup car at least once. It's been in Made America at least once. I'm pretty sure the developer's attitude is you should have plenty of parts for this car by now. So I'm not holding my breath for 9.2, but if they're nice enough to do that for us, hey, that's great for the new players. You have a much better chance. For the veterans with max cars, it's an irrelevant thing. It's, we're going to get through this one way or the other because we have max cars. But if you're missing parts or you just pulled a new LB Hellcat and you're a newer player, know what you're up against. And, it's not a matter of tuning. It's not a matter of driving. This car just needs that stage 6 to make it. Well, I've rambled on for about 20 minutes now. You've seen the effects of the individual stage 6s as I presented them. And the only thing I can tell you is the stage 6s barely do anything except for nitrous. So look for the nitrous. Without it, I'm sorry, you're going to be stuck if the time is anything other than 9.2 or 9.17 and slower for the PC Cup final. Race 28, where you get the stage 6. I'm not sure where they're going to put that. Generally speaking, I expect that to be right around 9.2, 9.3. If the final time is 8.9, you can almost bet that that stage 6 won't be reached without a 9.2. So that means you're going to need at least 3 stage 6s just to get to a stage 6. And that's not good. So hopefully I'm all totally way off the mark here, and you guys will get luck with the cup and actually do it easily. I wish that was the case. In fact, I'm hoping for that for you, but we'll see what happens next Friday when the Cup starts, or is it Thursday? Well, anyway, next coming up in the next few days when the Cup starts, everybody will know for sure. And again, I'm 99% positive the regular Hellcat's going to work. There's a Facebook post by someone, I can't remember his name, who had a glitch, and he more or less confirmed based on the glitch that he was able to open the cup, and it shows that these two cars both work. So if you have the regular Hellcat, you should be able to do this as well. All right, feel free to give me your view on this. Feel free to make your predictions. I think it's almost always fun to predict what's going to happen with PC Cup times. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm way off base. But with these older cars, I just don't expect it to be too easy. I just don't see Natural Motion doing that. Anything you can think of, driving techniques, better tuning, do post it. Other people who reads the chat underneath or the posts underneath the video itself may be able to get some good information that way. And this way we help each other make it through. In the end, I'm making these videos because I want to help you guys. And when you guys make comments, it helps me. So everybody has a better time playing the game and getting through these seasonal events that we always have repeat of. Please subscribe to the channel. This way, as I put up more videos, you always get notification. Every season, if I have the car and I have it built, I will do the Stage 6 effects. Next season, I probably won't because that's a brand new car and I won't have parts for it until the Cup starts, much like most of you will have to be facing as well. So next season is more of a question mark all the way around. As always, I want to thank you for watching. And if you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave them. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.